I decided to go a little fancier today. I wanted a nice steak dinner for myself. Stay tuned to see how I made it. Let's rock. What's happening, folks? First, we'll season the steak. The cut of meat I used today was a 9-ounce rump steak. Pat your steak dry with some paper towels. Trim off the really fatty parts and season it generously with salt and pepper all over the steak. If you have to get the salt and pepper on the sides, just rub it all around the board like I have here. Make sure it's fully covered all around. Now let that rest at room temperature while we start everything else. The first side we'll be making is a chorizo and paprika mash. I use 300 grams of potatoes. Yukon Gold is the best for mash, of course, but I'm just using classic British potatoes as I already had them in my house. Wash, peel and cut into even pieces so they cook evenly, and as always with mash, start off in cold salted water and bring them to the boil. Never just add the potatoes directly to boiling hot water. These take around 15 minutes to become fork tender. While they're boiling away, we can start cooking the chorizo. Dice 30 grams of cured chorizo into bite-sized pieces and cook on a pan medium heat. This should only take around 2 to 3 minutes for the oil to render out. We'll transfer them into a bowl and leave that chorizo oil on the pan. Add a tablespoon of good quality butter and 1 garlic clove. Let that butter melt and leave that chorizo garlicky butter there resting, as we're going to add that to the potatoes when they're finished. While the potatoes are boiling away, we'll quickly start the other side. So I'm just going to quickly blanch some tenderstem broccoli in salted water. It should only take around 3 minutes, and when that time has passed, drain it and run it under cold water straight away so it stops the cooking. And we'll finish off that broccoli in a pan towards the end. The potatoes should be fork tender now, so we'll drain them and begin the mash. So first, add a little splash of cream. Don't add too much, as you want to add stuff gradually along the way. You don't want to make it too mushy. And 20 grams of Parmesan cheese, a tablespoon of paprika, and that garlicky chorizo butter. Begin to mash and mix everything together now. We want our mashed potatoes to be fluffy and creamy, so that's why we're gradually mixing everything, taking a little break, seeing what we need to add. So for example, I need to add a bit more cream and a bit more butter. I got my desired texture here. Perfect. Now if you wanted it a bit more creamy in that, of course just add a bit more butter, a bit more cream. But don't just lump in a load of it as you will around the mash. Top it with that crispy chorizo, a little dash of paprika, and there you go. Now to keep this warm, I just put it in the oven on low heat and let it rest at the bottom. It won't overcook or anything like that, don't worry. It's time to cook the steak now. So get out a pan, add some cooking oil, turn up to high heat and let that oil heat up till it's nearly smoking. If you have a cast iron pan, perfect, they're the best for steaks. But unfortunately me, I just have a normal old pan and that'll be fine, don't worry. My aim was to cook my steak between medium rare or just a little tiny bit less than medium rare. For a 9-ounce steak, you want the inside temperature to be between 55 to 65 degrees. My thermometer actually broke before filming, so not to worry. We can just go ahead and cook it by using time. All steaks are different now. Some may vary by a few seconds, but in regards to this 9-ounce cut, don't cook it for more than 6 minutes. And your steak will come out fine, as you can see in the thumbnail and the opening shot of this video. Start by cooking the steak on each side for a minute to get a nice colour and crust. Turn it on its sides for 30 seconds each side. Add a tablespoon of butter, 2 sprigs of thyme, 2 cloves of garlic. Keep basting that steak and brushing it down with the thyme and the garlic, and flip it every 30 seconds for the last 2 to 3 minutes. Use your watch to help you with this or your phone. And regardless of how you like your steak cooked, always butter baste your steak to enhance the flavours. And very important, when you're done the steak, leave that resting for around 5 minutes, and while it is, we'll start the sauce, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Of course we can't let that fat, flavour and fond go to waste. Just scrape off a few bits of thyme, crush those cloves of garlic, scrape up that fond, and turn the heat up to high. Add 100 ml of beef stock, then add a generous amount of black pepper. We're going for like a peppercorn sauce here, so the only difference is we're just making it a bit more creamier. So bring that beef stock to a heavy boil. Add 100 ml of cream. Let it boil on high heat for about a minute. When reduced, turn it down to a simmer. Add 20 grams of Parmesan cheese. Thicken it up. Just let that simmer away. There you go. Delicious, simple, creamy sauce for your steak. And lastly, we're going to wake up that tenderstem broccoli. Just add it to a wok or a pan on high heat. Add a splash of olive oil, salt, pepper, 1 garlic clove. Just cook it for a minute. Just give it a bit of colour. Wake her up. Nice and quick. There we go. It's time to finish up and just cut into that steak. Now look at that. Just cooked it perfectly the way I wanted it. Without a thermometer. As I already said, you have a thermometer. You want this to medium rare. You want the degrees on the inside to be 55 to 65 degrees. I just showed here, if you just cook it by time, you can still get amazing results. Now if you're worrying about overcooking your steak, always just take around 30 seconds off the time and just undercook it slightly. I'd rather undercook my steak a bit than overcook it. And you can always just gradually bring up the heat by letting it rest in the oven on low heat. But if you just follow the tips and methods I did here, the steak will come out like this just fine. So no steak, please come in the comments at me. But do you know the best way is thermometer, cast iron pan? I don't have that, and I'll just show it. By doing this, you can still have a really good steak. Plate that broccoli on the side, line the steak around the paprika mash, pour over that creamy steak sauce. And there we go. That's that, I suppose, isn't it? Perfect dinner to make for yourself. If you're looking for more dinner ideas, here you go. Ta.